Hello, welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian, Pace reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. Drummer, educator, as well as pianist, Jack DeJohnette is celebrating a week-long list of events. First of all, he's releasing a brand new CD which features the likes of Esperanza Spauding, Jason Moran, and Bruce Hornsby. In addition to that, he is one of the inductees of this year's 2012 class of the NEA Jazz Masters. In addition to that, he's celebrating his 70th birthday here at the Blue Note. We sit down and talk about the brand new recording, as well as what he's brought to the world of jazz music, and we talk about his origins of him growing up in Chicago. Congratulations on a lot of things. Your 70th birthday, you being inducted as one of the inductees of the 2012 NEA Jazz Masters, as well as this brand new CD. Are you tired?
No. I mean, I'm really excited by all of it. You know, my wife and I are gonna take a nice holiday in February, and then we'll go. But right now, I'm really into it.
You know, this CD is really, it's jazz, it's world music, it's a little folk, it's a little bit of everything. What were you thinking about when you were recording this record?
Well, you know, I have to say that my wife Lydia was, you know, inspiring in terms of me, you know, doing this project. And it was our idea that we need to do something good for you for your 70th birthday. And, you know, got a hold of our friend Chuck Mitchell from eOne. And make a long story short, we sat down, we talked about it, and, you know, Chuck agreed that it would be great to do a special record, not one just my group, which I'm very excited about, and that's a future project, but something special that summed up maybe, you know, some of my life and my musical interest. And one of the requirements was Chuck said to me, he says, you know, but you have to play piano, you know. So I said, oh, okay. And so one of the things that occurred to me was that it was a quote that Miles said about me, you know, in his autobiography. You know, Jack just loved to play grooves that you like to play over, and I do like to play grooves, and I love to dance, and I like music that's you know, makes you want to move, you know, no matter what genre it's in, and I like beautiful melodies. So I thought, well, the focus for this should be grooves, you know, the grooves. And beautiful melodies. And so I thought about the personnel, and the people that came to mind were, you know, Esperanza Spauding, who's, you know, just, what can you say, she's just amazing. She sings, she writes, you know, she's a great human being. She's very, very bright and an amazing human being. And we had played together with Herbie Hancock, celebrating his 70th, you know, and so, and we got to talking, and, you know, eventually I was, you know, she asked me to do her CD, which is coming out soon. I guess the Radio Music Society, right? And it was a thrill to have that done. And consequently, this opportunity for my day came up, and I asked her if she would be so kind as to, you know, grace me with her presence on this. The other musicians were Lionel Lewicki and Ambrose Akinmusir. Lionel I had heard with Terence Blanchard and Herbie, and Ambrose I'd heard about and had never played with until I made this recording with another good friend of mine, who's a multi-reed master, Michel Portal, who lives in Paris. And I've worked with him over the last 40 years or so in different projects, you know. And so Michel did this record called Belladar, and he wrote all the music. The personnel had Scott Colley on bass, Lionel and Ambrose, and Bohan Z on piano and producing. And Michel wrote some great pieces, and I wrote one composition on it. And we toured France as a result of the CD, about 5 concerts. So Lionel and Ambrose and I got a chance to really kind of play together. So that's why I really chose them.
Everyone talks about your time with Miles and Charles. We all know that. But one of the most important, I think...
And Sonny.
And Sonny, right, and Sonny. One of the most important partnerships was through a mentor who you learned and studied and played with in Chicago. And his name is Muhal Richard Abrams. And I think a lot of what he's done with the collective he formed in the late 50s and early 60s is a lot of where you are musically right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not only was he helpful with me musically, but he was also helpful as a mentor, as a father figure. I mean, I could, you know, talk to him about life, you know, and he'd give me advice. You know, it was really, when I needed that, you know, he was there, you know, he was there for me. And all of the other musicians that were there, I was there when he started the collective, the AACM. You know, he took it upon himself to say, well, there's a group of musicians here that don't have an outlet to play, a vehicle, you know. So he got a charter and found us a space, and then the AACM was born. We had an AACM orchestra, out of which had Joseph Jarman, myself, Roscoe Mitchell, Malachi Favors, Troy Robinson, a few other players. Lester came a little later, you know, after I came to New York. But then we had an outlet, and it was really great. I mean, before that time, Lester and Joseph Drama and I used to play up in the lofts up in the south side of Chicago, you know, charge money. People, you know, a handful of people would come and hear us, you know, do what we were doing, experimenting with, you know, alternative ways to compose and improvise. So it was really great that what Muhal did, and of course, you know, he was a phenomenal man who taught himself numerology, how to compose, how to play the clarinet, you know, whatever it was, you know. He said the information is available, you just have to apply yourself, and it doesn't take a lot of money to do it. He said, there's the library, it's down there, it's free. And he took great advantage of it, and the rest is history, you know.
Well, you know, you're going to be inducted with another homeboy from your hometown, Von Freeman. Yeah. Chicago has another history as far as the music. What's the difference between Chicago and maybe a New Orleans and maybe a New York? Because New York produced some great music and great jazz clubs like the Blue Note and Birdland, but Chicago has a history of great piano players as well as drummers as well as saxophones.
Well, I mean, I remember when I was leaving for New York, and Muhal, you know, I was asking him about going to New York, and it was his encouragement. He said, well, you know, don't worry, New York's just like Chicago. He said, but it's the same thing, but it's just more of it. It's just more intensified. And Chicago's more laid back. The rhythm is more laid back. And the musicians there was always, you know, musicians helped each other out, you know. I mean, when I was playing piano, first learned how to play chords and comp behind people. Pat Patrick, the father of Deval Patrick, you know, the governor of Massachusetts, used to come around my house and help me learn scales and chords. So, you know, Chicago, you say, was more laid back, but, you know, it's the rhythm. You know, I think everybody, once they get to New York, there's another, they pick up that intensity when they come here. But, you know, like Tony Williams is originally born in Chicago. Now, Herbie, Chicago, you know, it's the name from Johnny Griffin. It's the name of Sun Ra. I mean, I think he was born somewhere else, but he made, you know, he made Chicago, you know, happening. You know, Ahmad Jamal, who actually, you know, that record, but not for me, Live at the Persian, was a catalyst for me as a pianist, and Vernell Fournier, with that great trio which had Israel Crosby on drums, got me into playing drums. And so you can see the connection, because Vernell is from New Orleans, you know. And he had that, this is kind of a feel. You know, my father's from Oak Ridge, Louisiana, you know. So I have, you know, I love the Meters, and I love Professor Long, or Dr. John, you know, what is it, the Neville Brothers, you know, Fast Domino, you know, and, you know, Pops, Louis, you know, it's like, there's so many great players that come out of there, you know. But, you know, Chicago, people would come from St. Louis, the South, would come up to Chicago. Chicago was a stepping off point. They'd just come into Chicago, and then they'd go to New York. So, you know, there was a kind of a bridge there. So, you know, but, you know, New York is, you know, was like the Mecca, you know. It's like, you know, for the arts, really, you know. So everybody comes here. If they don't stay, they got to come here, you know.
70, you're being acknowledged in this elite class of great icons, and you are now considered a great icon of the music. How does it feel to be inducted? I mean, because this is a pivotal part of your life now that many people are going to be looking at you for another 30, 40, 50 years.
Well, I certainly hope so. I feel, very honored, very touched, and inspired by, receiving this award, and also being inducted into that, let me say, the league of jazz masters who living and are, have passed on, but who live on through us, through me and some of the other musicians, younger and older. So, being on the shoulders of all that and carrying on the legacy of, creative jazz music is something that, I'm just looking forward to. I still have the enthusiasm and excitement to play. I can't wait to get on stand to play the music or write some new music. So it's something very youthful in that. So it's been rejuvenating. Let's put it that way. I'm really rejuvenated.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Blue Note here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank Jack DeJohnette for his time, as well as the staff and management here at the Blue Note. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.